Why do we struggle to share our difficulties with others? Because we've built an identity around being strong, independent, and in control. Showing vulnerability might feel like exposing cracks in that image, which can be uncomfortable or even scary. We also have this belief that no one can truly handle our emotions, so opening up feels pointless or even risky. There might be a fear that if we admit to struggling, people will see us differently, less capable, and maybe less put together. But struggling is not a weakness, it's a part of being human. Why do we set ourselves up for failure by raising the bar too high, for ourselves and for others? That's because we have high expectations, and that's because we believe that we should be able to reach them. We push ourselves because we want to be exceptional, and anything less feels like settling. But sometimes, these expectations become unrealistic, leading to disappointment and frustration. With others, we might also expect a certain level of competence, understanding, or effort, and when they don't meet it, it feels like a letdown. This cycle makes it hard to feel satisfied, because even when we reach a goal, the bar moves higher. At the core of all of this is a deep need for validation and control. Validation that we are as capable and exceptional as we want to be seen, and control over outcomes so we don't have to face uncertainty or disappointment. The key isn't to lower our standards, but to recognize that our worth isn't tied to them. We don't need to prove anything to be enough. Sometimes, when we notice these patterns, we try to work on ourselves. We try to heal. We try to detach. But we still feel like we're struggling. We're not healing. But that's not healing. Healing isn't about reaching a point where you never struggle again. It's about learning how to move through the struggle differently. You've been working hard, and that effort does matter. But detachment isn't something you force. It's something that comes gradually with awareness and practice. Right now, maybe your emotions still feel overpowering because they're deeply ingrained responses. The patterns you're trying to unlearn, tying your worth to achievement, fearing vulnerability, setting impossible standards, they didn't form overnight, so they won't disappear overnight either. Feeling like your emotions still control you doesn't mean you're failing at healing. It means you're in the process of rewiring how you respond to them. The fact that you're noticing these feelings, questioning them, and wanting to change means you are making progress. You just don't feel the results as quickly as you'd like. You just don't have the patience to wait and see the results. So instead of aiming for complete detachment, try focusing on small shifts. For example, can you sit with discomfort without letting it define you? Can you recognize that a bad mark, a bad day, or a tough emotion doesn't make you less worthy? Can you allow yourself to struggle without labeling it as a failure? So healing isn't about eliminating struggle. It's about building the strength to not let it break you. When I ask these questions, you may think of answers, and the answer is yes or no. And if the answer to all of those questions is no, you might ask yourself, now what? What do I do? Why do I feel too much? Why do I feel this urge to be special and for people to see that I'm special? You feel too much because you are deeply sensitive to the world around you. Your emotions, your ambitions, your need for significance. Some people move through life with a sense of detachment, but you don't. You want more, And that desire is both your strength and your burden. So let's break it down. First, why do you feel the urge to be special? Because being just another person feels unbearable to you. Maybe at some point you internalized the idea that being ordinary means being invisible, unworthy, or not enough. If you're exceptional, if people recognize your uniqueness, then maybe that proves your existence matters. Maybe it validates your struggles and efforts. But this mindset creates a never-ending cycle. And that cycle is that no amount of recognition will ever feel like enough. Because the real validation you need isn't external. It has to come from within. Second question, why do you put in so much effort but feel like it's to no avail? That's because you don't allow yourself to see your progress. You set the bar so high that even when you achieve something, you immediately shift the goalpost. You don't stop to appreciate the growth. You just focus on what's next. That makes everything feels like a race you can never win. It's exhausting because you're constantly chasing an ideal instead of recognizing how far you've already come. Third question you may be asking yourself, why can I be normal, chill, or calm? That's because that's not who you are. And maybe a part of you resents that, hates that. You wish you could move through life with more ease, without feeling so deeply, without being consumed by expectations. But you were never meant to be indifferent. The way you think, that intensity you feel, that's part of what makes you you. Instead of trying to erase it, what if you learn to work with it? What if you learn to accept it and cherish it and celebrate it? Another question you may be asking yourself now, why do I feel this turmoil? That's because you're fighting yourself. You have this constant push and pull, wanting to be special, but not wanting to depend on external validation, wanting to be at peace, but also driven by ambition, wanting to detach, but still deeply affected by everything. That inner conflict is what creates the storm. So what do you do? You start by making space for everything you feel without judgment. You don't have to fix it all at once. You don't have to force yourself to be detached overnight. But you can start questioning the narratives that keep you stuck. Instead of, I have to be special, ask yourself, who am I when I'm not trying to prove anything? Instead of saying, I work so hard for nothing, ask yourself, what would happen if I acknowledged even the smallest wins? Instead of, why am I like this? Ask yourself, how can I accept myself as I am, even as I grow? You don't need to stop feeling so much. You just need to stop making those feelings your enemy.